giving Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac a bit of a boost today. Both of these embattled stocks are up after the government indicated it would lift the limit on how many mortgages these companies can buy up.
Now, the restrictions were put into place because of past accounting problems, but now some are hoping Fannie and Freddie can help bail financial firms out of the mortgage mess. However, could they actually end up fueling the fire if banks start easing their lending standards once again? Our Fox panel is back now to discuss it. Fannie and Freddie, Peter Schiff, what's going to happen to them?
Well, you know, all this does, if it means they can buy more mortgages, then certainly lending standards might ease a bit for those mortgages that they can unload on Freddie and Fannie. But all it does is create a bigger problem for these companies because it only means they insure more mortgages that are likely to go bad.
Will they survive?
I don't think so. I think Freddie and Fannie are going to go to zero. I think there's no hope for the shareholders.
Zero?
Well, I think they're going to go bankrupt. I think the big question is what happens to all the bonds they insure. Will the government step up and bail and guarantee?
They have a duty to do that.
Well, we don't know. It's untested. It's not a full faith and credit guarantee. It's an we assume it that they're going to, and I don't know because obviously where's the government going to get the money to bail out all these failed mortgages? All they can do is create it. All they can do is print it, which means there's a lot more inflation.
That's not what's going to happen. Look, Fannie, Freddie been around for 70 years. They were doing fine. You can track the peak of the housing market to 2005 when the crackdown came on Fannie Mae in terms of tighter regulation, in terms of the government telling them they have to reduce the size of their portfolio. It took an enormous, Alan Greenspan once said that simply because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were perceived as being backed by the government, that injected an extra $140 billion annually into the mortgage market. It was a huge amount. And when the crackdowns came, you saw the withdrawal of that liquidity, and it started to cause the housing market to go into a downturn. Getting this relaxation in their limits now, I think, is a very positive thing, and it's going to be a benefit and a boost to at least to add some stability to the market.
Yoron, my only problem with it, and I'm with Mike because I've followed these stocks for several years now, close to a decade, and they're not going to zero. But my only problem is they can't even keep their own financial houses in order, yet you're going to give them this brand new latitude in writing brand new mortgages when they can't seem to get it together with what they have.
Absolutely. These are two really government agencies that are as corrupt, I think, as most government agencies. They can't do their accounting, just like the federal government can't do their accounting. But look, these guys fueled the crisis. Mike is absolutely right. They kept pumping money into the mortgage market. This is what caused the subprime mess. Giving them more capacity is just going to create more problems. The best thing we could do is not drive the price down to zero, but unwind their positions. Get rid of Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac. Let the market create entities, not backed by the government, but create entities that do the same thing if it's appropriate for the market to do so.
Let's talk to somebody who's really got skin in this game, a guy who's really into real estate, Tom Atkins.
First of all, the subprime mess wasn't caused because there is actually more money in the market. It's primarily because we had this great balance for almost 20 years of subprime, where you had you had loans that were not conforming, not Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They were loans that were outside, maybe less money down, maybe they're higher than most house prices were, and when Alan Greenspan and Ben Bernanke conspired to raise rates 525% in 3 years, that's what crushed the subprime. That was not a conspiracy, just a screw up. So that's the first thing. Look, there's the difference between conspiring to do something stupid or just being stupid in the first place, just by accident.
Right. We did the Fed. Let's do Fannie and Freddie.
But Fannie and Freddie primarily are very safe mortgages. They'll be the last thing to collapse if there ever is a collapse. And if there is, it's going to be minor. It's not that big of a deal. The subprime are going to be eating up. They're the biggest risk loans. They're the ones that are taking the biggest pounding. The ones that are prime mortgages, ones with 20% down and more, the ones where people were very safe bets, completely conforming, completely, everything they signed was documented. These are the easiest, most safest loans out there.
What should the Fed have done with interest rates?
Then we don't need Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac.
No. The Fed should have done. They should have come down quickly, moved up slowly, and not come down as far as 1%. They should probably come down 2.5, maybe 2, and then going back up as inflation was. Yeah.
The Fed could also leave interest rates at a level and allow the imbalances, if you want to call it that, to be adjusted in the foreign exchange level of the dollar. The Fed tries to target inflation, it tries to target interest rates. They're both, it's sort of a moving target.
Yeah, the mistake they make.
And it's difficult to do. And we always look back, with 20/20 perfect hindsight and say, well, you should have not gone down this low, or you should have not raised them. But they react to conditions, and it's by definition a sort of a rearward looking.
Freddie and Fannie, you can't argue with Euron's point, Tom Atkins, that they've been terribly managed in the past. They're sort of they're political gifts that are given out, positions in that organization. People make millions of dollars as a result of their friendship with people in government.
They don't promote people who are competent. They promote people who are
well-connected.
Butts. Yeah.
And what do we need them for?
Well, no. It's important to have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Without it, you can't expand and put enough money. No, you can't put enough money out there for people just to buy houses. It wouldn't exist. Rates would be 25 or 30%. That we wouldn't be able to do it.
They're trying to sustain these artificially high home prices with all this extra credit. If we didn't have all these entities, even if we took away the tax breaks for real estate, it wouldn't make it more difficult for people to buy homes. Home prices would just come down.
Last and first word, by the way, with Peter Schiff this time. All right, the countdown of the closing bell, it's not a conspiracy, is on, folks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is still up 11 points.
Stay tuned. We've got much more on Fox Business. We're coming right back.